Hello there, Year 7s. This is your very first trumpet lesson. Today we're going to aim to learn three very simple things. The first is you're going to see the different parts of the instrument and how to put it together. The second is we're going to talk about how to hold the instrument and how to sit or stand when you're playing the instrument. And then the third thing will be learning how to produce a sound on your trumpet. So let's get started. So here you can see I've got my trumpet case. It will look slightly different to yours, but very simply just a case that holds your instrument safely. Now, the first thing to make sure you're always doing is whenever you get your instrument out of the case, that you always have the case really safely on the floor, just to save anything falling out or damaging. So best not to sort of do it on your laps or holding it in the air, just keep it safely on the floor. Now, if you look inside your case, first of all, you will see your trumpet. It might look a bit different to mine. It might be gold, or you might have a pea trumpet, a plastic trumpet, but they all work in exactly the same way. And then you will also find a mouthpiece. Now, again, I have mine in a separate sort of pouch, but you might find that there's a hole in your case, and that's where your mouthpiece will be kept. So here is my mouthpiece. Yours will look hopefully really similar to this as well. Okay, so we have our mouthpiece and we have our trumpet. So very simply, the mouthpiece goes in the end of the instrument, just here, like that. Okay, so we're now going to just have a look at the different parts of the instrument. So as we've already found, we've got the mouthpiece here, which is a separate part of the instrument, but it goes into the lead pipe here. We've got the bell at the very end of the instrument, named because it looks a bit like a bell, and this is where the sound comes out as you're playing. We've got three valves here. They sort of look a little bit like buttons, but on the trumpet we call them valves. And if we push down any sort of combination of these three, then they produce different pitches, different sounds on our instrument. Okay, you'll see some other bits as well, some things here which are called slides, but we don't really need to worry about those at the moment. Okay, and that's your instrument. So now let's talk about how to hold the instrument. Now, you might notice a trumpet, you wouldn't really expect it, but it can actually feel quite heavy. So we need to make sure we're holding it really securely and always sat with a really good posture as well. Okay, so first of all, if you place your instrument on your leg like this, and we will always call this rest position. Okay, so always with the bell of your instrument just resting nicely on your leg like that. Okay, now if you take your left hand and you place it around the three valve cases here. Okay, so we place it there. You put your thumb through this ring here. If you have one, your instrument might not have one. And then you put the rest of your fingers on the other side. Okay, so this should be holding it nicely. And with our left hand and our left arm, we hold the whole weight of the instrument. So you should be able to feel this really securely. Now, be really careful not to grip it really hard, because even if you do that only for a short amount of time, you can feel sort of strain down your arm and through to your back. And we want to make sure that we're just feeling really good all the time. So, you don't need to really grip it, but just make sure you're holding it really securely with your left hand. Okay, now popping it back on your leg with our right hand. In fact, I'll just go the other way around so you can see. With our right hand, we use this to play the valves, okay? So your index finger goes on the first valve, your middle finger goes on the second valve, and your fourth finger, your ring finger, goes on the third valve here. Now your pinky can sort of tuck in a little bit in this ring here. We, again, don't want to grip with the right hand at all. It means we won't have this good control of the valves, and again, it can cause some tension in your muscles. But if it just sort of tucks in here nicely, then you can feel nice and relaxed. And then your thumb can just sit here, just underneath, in between the first and second valve cases here. Okay, so everything should just feel nice and relaxed. Now, we're not always using our valves. We're not always pushing all of them down at the same time, but your fingertips must always just sit on top of the valves here. Okay, so we don't want the fingers going over like that. We just want them to sit really nicely as if you're holding, it's hard to show you on the video, but as if you're holding a little hamster here. You don't want to squash it, and you don't want to release it too much like this either. You just want to sort of keep it safe in your hands. Okay, so that's how to hold your instrument. Now we're going to talk about posture. So this is the way that you sit or the way that you stand when you're playing. Now it's really important that we sit well. We don't want to sort of slouch back like this or anything like that, because you're always needing to really breathe well when you're playing your instrument. And that really helps you make a really good sound. Okay, so if you're sat down, I'll go sideways so you can see. You need to be sat with a straight back. Okay, now you don't want to be slouching back like this, or you don't want to be sat at the very back of your chair either, otherwise the temptation to sort of lean back and be nice and relaxed is really there. So just make sure you're sat towards the edge of your seat. Okay, now you should have your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, no sort of crossed legs, not immediately together or really spread apart, just nice hip width apart. And then make sure you're sat with a really good straight back. Okay, now let's take our trumpet to our left leg, holding it in the left hand. Okay, and this will be your rest position. Okay, so anytime during your lessons, we'll go from rest position to playing position quite a lot. So rest position means sat with your good posture, really ready to play, but with your trumpet in your left hand on your left leg. Okay, now trumpet is quite a heavy instrument, and I like to sort of set my posture how I would like it to be, so making sure my shoulders are back a little bit. I'm not tempted to sort of lean forwards like that, and then I bring my instrument to my face. Okay, so why don't you just practice that with me? So first of all, sat nicely with your shoulders back, nice straight back, feet feeling really grounded and comfortable on the floor, and then lifting your instrument up to your face. So this would be playing position now, and hopefully you can see my trumpet is sort of straight. It's not completely straight like that, it's sort of down a little bit, but I'm holding it straight up. I've got my arms sort of slightly to the side of my body. They're not squashed in like this, they're not completely over excited like this, they're just nicely, comfortably by the side of my body. Okay, and we'll go back to rest position. One more time, going from rest position to playing position. So rest position, setting my shoulders nicely, my head's held high, and playing position. And back to rest position. Fantastic. So now you know how to hold the instrument and how to sit with it in the different parts of the instrument. We're going to learn how to produce a sound. And in order to do this, I'd like you first of all just to take your mouthpiece out of your instrument, put your instrument down safely back in its case or on a chair. And I'd like you to hold your mouthpiece just with the thumb and the index finger in your left hand. Okay, there might be a temptation to sort of grab it once you start buzzing, but it's really important to try and just keep it all nice and relaxed. So just your thumb and your index finger about halfway down the mouthpiece. And we're going to learn how to form what we call an embouchure. So I know that sounds like a very fancy word, but what it basically means is how we form our mouths in a position in order to be able to buzz a sound. Okay, so what you need to do is have a go at buzzing as if you're sort of blowing raspberries, a bit like this. Okay, now when I'm doing that, the corners of my mouth, the muscles here, are a bit tight. They help to sort of form this embouchure. And the middle of my lips are a bit more relaxed so that they can produce that buzzing sound. Okay, so everybody just have a go at doing that. It's really important to take a breath first of all. So let's do it together. So a breath first and have a go at buzzing. Lovely, one more time. Fantastic. Now let's take your mouthpiece to your lips. It should go sort of in the center of your lips. So first of all, let's just put it there to see how it feels. Now we don't want you to push on or anything like that, but it can just sit there nicely. And then let's do the same thing, a breath, and then have a go at this buzz. Ready? Okay, let's just have another go at that. So remember, a nice breath first. Fantastic, well done everyone. Now, if your buzz didn't sound quite like mine, don't worry at all. This is your very first go at having a go at this. If your sound, if you think it just sounds like it's just air or a bit airy like this, or something like that, that just means your face is just a little bit too relaxed. So just remember about the muscles in the corner of your mouth. They should feel, if you try, it might feel strange because you probably don't really use these muscles in any other way other than, you know, playing the trumpet now, but really try and sort of tense those muscles a little bit in the corners of your mouth. And then try to create that buzz there. So let's just have another go. So if you think your sound is a bit too airy or you're not quite finding it, then just really think about that buzz. Okay, let's do it again. Lovely. And this time we'll find that note and we're going to slide sort of up and down. If at any point you feel like the air cuts out and the sound stops, just take a fresh breath and have another go at rejoining. Okay. Fantastic, well done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a go at actually playing on our instrument. We've had a go at the mouthpiece buzzing and now we're going to put that into the instrument and play. But before we start playing, we need to remember that we have to take a really good breath before we play the instrument anytime. Now, if you have a look at your trumpet, it might look like quite a relatively small instrument compared to some others you might have seen, but actually all of this piping that goes around the instrument is equal to 1.5 meters of piping. So that's actually quite big. So in order to get a sound through all of that, we have to make sure we're always taking a really good breath. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a really deep breath in over 4 beats, and then we're going to blow the air out over 4 beats. This is without your instrument for now. Okay, now as you're blowing out over 4 beats, you might feel like you get to sort of 2 beats and you think, oh, I've run out of air, I haven't got anything left. So what I want you to try and picture is if you've got a really big candle at the other side of the room. Okay, so try and think of this candle that's really far away, and you're trying to really blow that candle out, but because it's so far away, you have to really keep pushing with the air. Okay, so let's try that together. So we'll breathe in over 4 beats, and then we'll breathe out over 4 beats. Here we go, with me, 1. Okay, so breathing in now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and blow out that candle. Good. Let's do that a couple more times. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. Fantastic. One more time. Here we go. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. Fantastic. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of the kind of breathing that you need to be doing while you're playing. So now let's go to our trumpets, ready in rest position, and we're going to have a go remembering that buzzing we were doing with the mouthpiece, and we're going to have a go at playing. So first of all, we're going to take a breath in, and then we're going to play just one note and see what happens. Okay, so I'll play first of all, and then you have a go. So here we go. Ready in playing position. And I'm going to play a note first. Your turn. Fantastic. Good. Let's have a go now together. So breathing with me. We'll do it 2 more times. And one last time. Fantastic. Well done, everyone. Hopefully you are finding that you were able to make a sound at that point. Now, don't worry if it doesn't sound exactly like mine. As I said, this is your very first time at having a go. So don't worry at all if it doesn't sound like the sound I'm making. But as long as you've got a sound coming out, then that's absolutely fine. Now, some of you might be finding that you are struggling to make this sound, and there might be a few reasons why. So in a moment, we'll have a go at playing those notes again, and you can try something slightly different. So have a think. If you're finding it was a bit airy, so mostly sort of, and not actually that you were producing a note, it might be that your face is just a little bit too relaxed. Remember, we're talking about those muscles in the corner of your mouth. Those need to be a little bit tighter in order to be able to produce that buzz that we were talking about. Okay. Now, if you found that you were hitting a note and it was sounding great, but then you couldn't hold it for as long as I was holding my note, it might be that you just need to really think about that candle, and that you're really blowing to try and get that candle out. Remember, if you just go from a candle that's quite far away, it's not necessarily going to go out immediately. So we really need to hold that air. Okay. Now, if you were finding that you were making a sound, but it wasn't the same pitch as mine, it's quite a low note, this first note. If you were a bit like, or something like that, which happens all the time, it might be that actually, rather than being too relaxed, that everything was a bit too tight. Okay, often we think of trumpet like, oh, I need to play a really high note, and we just squeeze a bit too tight. So just relax it a little bit. Remember, these corners, again, they're the things that should be working hard, and they really help produce that buzz. So just relax it a bit. Okay, good. All right, one more thing. So if you're sort of seeing yourself doing this and you look a bit like this, you've got little sort of what we might call hamster cheeks, you're sort of filling them up with air. You need to be really careful about that. That's something we really try to avoid on any brass instrument. So again, just remember, try and hold your cheeks in with those muscles, and then you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so if you're finding any of those things, we're going to have another go at playing the notes again now, and just try and adjust something. You know, have a listen. Is my sound a bit too airy? Do I need to really find a bit of a better buzz? Am I not quite feeling it? Just pause the video and just have another go. You can have another go just with the mouthpiece, or even without it, just trying to really find that sort of buzz blowing raspberries that we're trying to find. Okay, good. All right, so here we go. Let's play these notes again together. So I'm skipping a step. Let's go back to rest position. So trumpet on your leg, sat nice with your good posture, got nice straight back. And now in playing position. And let's do this note again. One more time. Fantastic. Well done, everyone. So now you've managed to play this note on your instrument, we're going to have a go at playing some rhythms. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play a rhythm, and I'm going to play it over 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's your turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I'm playing, make sure you're ready in playing position so that you can join in immediately after that. And we're just going to do a few of these just to have a go. So you'll know some of these rhythms already from learning them in your music lessons. So rest position, playing position, Here we go, here's our pulse, and I'll start off. Fantastic. So well done everyone, year sevens, on your very first trumpet lesson. I hope you're really excited to learn this fantastic instrument. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next time. Before we finish, we've got to make sure that we put our trumpet safely back in its case. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take the mouthpiece out and lay the trumpet on the floor or on a chair somewhere that's really safe. And we're just going to put the mouthpiece back in its case, or if there's a little sort of slot in your case for your mouthpiece, you just pop it back in there. Okay, and now picking up your trumpet with both hands, we're going to place it back in the case and slot it in safely. Okay, so thanks so much everyone, well done, and I'll see you next time.